Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to look at some company that has definitely been in the news, and we want to know what's behind all this, and that is Boeing. Talk about a lot that's going on, especially with the maintenance of the airplanes, as well as what in the world is going on in this company. Because anytime it seems like somebody comes out as a whistleblower, well, there's been two people, they somehow die. One was a suicide and the other one was, I don't know, somehow they just died. I don't know if it was a poisoning, but they were the two whistleblowers. What's going on? Could this possibly be a company is that evil to silence and kill people with coming out with the truth? Bottom line, if it's true, it's always about the one factor that it always boils down to. What is money? Yeah, so let's look at the chart that I have for Boeing. And by the way, I'm always doing the charts that my Patreon people recommend I do. And Sing Tao is always the one that comes up with such great suggestions, I gotta say. But I have to give credit to my partner, Shrikala Ram, because she suggested that I do this chart on Boeing, and she gave me all the information for the chart data, as well as her 2 cents about what we had a beautiful conversation this morning about what's going on in this chart. So I have to give her credit for this. She has her own, we work together and we do a lot of videos together, and she has her own YouTube. So she'll be doing one on Boeing as well. But she told me to go ahead and do it first, so I'm bringing this up for you. So here we go. We're going to put up the first flight for Boeing, which was February 9th, 1969. 1969 was really important for air travel, for space. It was in July or August of 1969 that we put a man on the moon. I know a lot of people say that was false, but come on, we've been able to get stuff to the moon after that. So let's just give it the credit that it deserves. I think it really happened, and we can do it anyway. So there you go, 1969. Uranus and Jupiter, look in this chart, are conjunct, and that represents what? Great invention, great things that happen with technology, as well as the Jupiter-Uranus just conjoined, I think it was April 20th, at around 27 degrees of Aries. Whenever they come together, it's a new awakening, it's a new era of discovery, and it deals with invention and most probably air travel. And believe it or not, in astrology, Uranus rules aircraft. I think that's incredible. So Jupiter together here represents this amazing feat that now we have this huge company that's building aircraft for all the airliners. Now, before I continue, I forgot to mention to everyone to sign up for my free newsletter. You will get all of my predictions delivered to your email address every week. Go to galacticcenter.org. While you're there, check out my Patreon page, become a member of a spiritual group and community, as well as if you want your personal predictions, I know you do, delivered to your calendar, check out my new Galactic Planner. Go to galacticplanner.com. There you can sign up and you can get a free month. See if you like it. Check it all out. Continuing on here now, looking at Boeing's chart, what in the world is going on? Now we know that this is the chart that deals with discovery with Uranus-Jupiter conjunction. I think because Uranus and Jupiter just came together, again, this is significant for this chart. There's a big trend here. But what's happening right now as I speak, which this video will come out after this day and time, but I'm looking at right now, that Mars just crossed over Rahu. And that's intense. And that's where all of this bad press is coming out about the deaths of the employees. So Mars on Rahu is intense. And looking at this in the 11th house, it deals with groups, with organizations. The public now knows what possibly could be going on. If it's just a coincidence, or is there something more sinister behind this? With Mars on Rahu, makes me tend to think there's something behind this. And Mars will be moving up, and it's going to cross over Venus and Saturn. It's going to cross over Saturn, which is detrimental to the reputation of this company by the time of right before we get into June 1st. So towards the end of May, look out, last week of May, bad things are coming out about this company. And doesn't look good for the groups and organizations. How does that look for the HR there? Okay, let's consider that. Now, with this time of the first flight, the ascendant sits at 4 degrees of Taurus, which is very important because, well, for one thing, it's going to be around July 12th that Mars goes into Taurus. So therefore, it's going to be about the 15th, 16th, 17th that Mars will be on the ascendant. And this degree is so close to the fixed star Agal, which is the worst star. It's demonic, they say. And it deals with losing one's head. Actually deals with decapitation. But this is like this company with Mars crossing over this. And then we have Uranus coming over this point as well. And that will be in June that Uranus goes into Taurus. But looking at the time that Uranus, it will be in the next couple of months that Uranus will cross over this degree mark of the ascendant, which means radical, big shifts and changes. So I'm thinking something big will come out about this. It's got to. This is not okay for business to go in such a manner, but we're talking about so much money, right? That's what's at the core and the essence of this. Big money. Now, so the whole month of, well, we're going to look at between now, which right now as I speak, it's around the beginning of May. So through the month of May, then through June, and then even July, things get more critical. Now, when Rahu and Ketu, there's where it is. Yes, I wrote this down. That Rahu and Ketu, they are experiencing a return. What I mean by that is they're coming back to where they were at the time of this birth of this chart. Their first flight is what this chart represents. So Rahu sits at 7 degrees of Pisces and Ketu sits at 7 degrees of Virgo. They're always exactly opposite. But what's going to happen by December of 2024 is going to be where the nodes return back to their positions. And I always call this node return when the purpose of what this is all about, the return happens. So I think this is the uncovering of some very difficult information that involves this company. This company is in trouble. If this is true, they're in dire trouble. And this is hitting the news. And people are going to start thinking quite differently. The stock of Boeing, look out. I haven't looked at it. I should have. But I guarantee if this is all being revealed, they're in trouble. Okay? And here's another thing. K2 is going to be crossing over Jupiter. And this will be right around the time, yes, that It's going to be right before December. And so I'm looking at around October, but that's the time of eclipses. I just get that when K2 crosses over Jupiter, and this will be between now and December, you're going to see huge uncoverings happen when K2 hits Jupiter. And the reason why this is important is that Jupiter rules the 8th house of this chart, which deals with corruption and deals with undercurrents and death. Furthermore, Jupiter and Uranus sit in the 12th house from the moon, where K2 is crossing over. And let me just say, once we get into the months of October, November, December, when we get Mars in Gemini will be aspecting the Jupiter where K2 will be. And this is crucial. So I gotta say, looking at the chart, there is a lot that is about to be uncovered concerning this company, the corruption, the ugliness. And it's been quite evident that they have had a lot where they're not doing what they need to repair the airplanes or make them correctly. They're cutting corners. Otherwise, we wouldn't have doors falling off and pieces falling off. And they're covering up. But when someone tries to expose them, guess what? They're just eliminating the voice. And the way that they do this is going to be revealed. So Boeing, look out. They've got to start paying up karmically and, take responsibility. That's Saturn. And let me just say, when Saturn goes into Pisces, which it will around the end of March of 2025, that's where it's going to be crossing over many of the planets in Pisces, Rahu, Venus, and natal Saturn. And it will be opposing Jupiter, Uranus. So there is a lot more to come, lots of revelations concerning Boeing. And looking at this chart, it doesn't look good. So hopefully it was a coincidence and these things are not actually happening. But I have to say, the chart looks like they could be guilty. So I hate to put that out there, but I guess I need to start watching my back, right? Oh well, here we go. I bet there's going to be many astrologers out there coming up with the same information. So anyway, I thought you might be interested in what the astrology chart says about Boeing. So after finishing the video on Boeing, which dealt with corruption and cover-ups, I discovered something else that I wanted to add on to this video the very next day. And it was that I decided to look at Boeing stock, because with all this uncovering of dark things behind the scenes, this can't affect their stock in a good way. So in case you guys don't know, in my magazine, Joni Patry's Astrology Insights comes out every month. Beautiful, all online digital magazine. I do a stock pick every month, and depending on their stock chart, which is when their first trade is on the stock market, I can tell whether stocks are going to go up or down. And I have to share with you the chart for Boeing stock, because this gives us even more credence to what we discussed before, just going over Boeing's first flight, initial flight, which is the beginning of the work with the aircrafts, the airplanes. But Boeing started in 1935. This was the first time that they became publicly traded on the stock market. But look at this. This is what I found so relative to what's going on. And that is, I'm going to make it brief, you know, Saturn, the transit of Saturn will bring a stock low or give it problems, something like coming to a halt, lowering the stock value. And what I discovered is Saturn is about to station, to go retrograde in June, the end of June, June 29th. And if you'll look, transiting Saturn by the end of this year, by November, it's going to go retrograde all the way back to 18 degrees where it's going to stop. So I'm going to say the whole month of going into October, November, December, Saturn will be approximately around 18 degrees where it's going to be stationing. If you will look at this chart, look at where the sun is. The sun is 18 degrees of Leo, which means Saturn's going to be stationing, aspecting, exactly, bearing down on the sun, and the sun being here in the 12th house means uncovering things from the past. The ugly, dark things from the past. Saturn, it's also going through, it's already gone through a Saturn return because Saturn has already crossed over natal Saturn in the 6th house of their work. So this is important, very important. So I just wanted to add to the value of this video concerning how Boeing looks. Lots is going to be uncovered, and according to this chart, the stock is going to go down. So if you have Boeing, I'd say get out before it's too late, but their stock is going to go down. And you know, with bad PR like it is right now, doesn't really take looking at the chart to discover this, but I thought it was kind of interesting to add this to the video. So with that, I think I'll close. Remember, if you would like to join me on my Patreon page, become a member of our spiritual community, join me live every week, as well as find out anything about you. Go to my website by signing up for my free newsletter and signing up for my Galactic Planner. Go to galacticcenter.org. Check out my new galacticplanner.com. As well as if you want to study Vedic astrology, I have a school. Check out my University of VedicAstrology.com. We're starting some new classes this summer. So with that, thank you for joining me.